Welcome to episode 16 of the WireTap podcast with Alex.
Oh, I can say my name today. I
What
am
is your name?
I am your co-host, Carlos.
Carlos.
Do
Welcome to the show,
my
Carlos.
name? I don't know what it is. I appreciate that. Thanks, Alex. I don't know what it is, man. But ever since I grew up, I've grown up. I don't like my. I think I like my middle name more than my first name. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm Carlos, and I'm excited to be here. Alex, thank you for having me on the show. I know this is
Welcome to our show. What are you talking about?
Thank you for joining us, those of you that are listening. This is week 16 for sure. We
An
are on
exciting,
it.
exciting week, right? There's a
Yeah,
lot going on, a lot of
there is a
happening in our
lot.
state,
That's
a lot
right, a
of
lot
little
happening.
panic.
A little bit of a panic. I think it's happening all throughout the country, man. Let's
Yeah.
just get right to it, Alex. What's going on with this gas shortage, man? Tell me about this hack.
So, so yeah, dude. I mean, there was obviously a hack that was the Colonial refinery, one of the biggest one that produces the oil or basically to the east coast all the way up to I think it's all the way up to New York or Maine or but
Yeah.
anyways it goes all the way up through the east coast. Yeah.
Did you know one of the biggest reserves sits here in Alpharetta? Did you know that? I had no idea.
No, I did not actually.
Yeah, I had no clue, man.
So
Anyways.
they anyways it got shut down because of a ransomware by this hacker group Dark Side. I don't think I've ever heard of that actually, the hacker group before.
Man, there's so many hacker groups out there that are. I mean, honestly, what's interesting about this, and I know you'll continue to tell us a little bit more. What's interesting is I did not think they would pay the ransom. To be honest with you, I didn't think the ransom was going to take place, but it did. I'm very surprised, man, that it took place. To be honest with you,
So that's very interesting because normally that's I don't know if they would either they didn't see the opportunity to be able to come out of this without some type of payment and just get over it,
yeah.
or they kind of do the payment, get over it, and then figure out how to stop it from going forward. Because what would prevent somebody to come do it again? Obviously, I don't know if you saw, but part of the news is Joe Biden signed an executive order to increase the cybersecurity infrastructure.
Yeah. Part of the new big deal, the
Yeah.
trillions that are out there that I did not realize we had. And again,
There's
I'm
a
not
lot of money, Carlos. I don't know if you know
Alex.
this.
I don't know about this new infrastructure deal that President Biden's got in place. I just think it's a lot of money, man, and I just don't know if this is what our country. Listen, I'm all about innovation. I am all about innovation. I am all about creating infrastructure and advancing what we've got. But the trillions that we're talking about, man, is somebody's got to pay for it. Let's just be honest. Somebody's got
Hmm.
to pay for it. So the question is, who does and how do we do it?
Well, dude, is like who pays for it? They should figure out areas that we're
We do.
spending money.
We pay for it.
No,
The
I know
American
we do,
people
but
will.
I know we do. But I'm just saying we shouldn't. They shouldn't ask for any more money. First of all, because we still haven't. A lot of people still haven't made it out. Right? They're not back on their feet 100%. There's
Yes.
companies out there, small businesses that are hurting.
Yeah.
So what do? You start looking at your own assessment. What areas of the government can you slim down that don't impact? Like it's crazy to me, dude. Like sometimes how we spend so much money and like how's the salamanders affect this area? Like thousands of dollars. I mean, I'm just putting an example. It could be
Yeah. No,
anything.
of course. Of
How
course.
does the ducks affect this area? Like, and
Yeah.
they millions of dollars in their research for nothing,
Yeah.
for
Of
nothing.
course.
So
Of
it's
course.
like
Of course.
figure out where that money's at, cut some of that funding, and just redirect it.
I think that's one step, but I think we've got to figure out, and I think that's what President Biden is trying to do, man, is figure out what our priorities are as a nation. Because my their response to me would be, "Well, do you enjoy driving your car on nice roads?" Well, absolutely. Well, this will help your infrastructure. Do you feel like your internet could be faster? Well, yeah, I think everyone would love their internet to be faster, right? So this answers your question. This answers your concern. And before you know it, you've got multiple things in order and in place that kind of just set you in a moment of, Huh. There's a point, there's a reason that all this is needed, Alex. Don't get me wrong. But where is all this money coming from? Is my question. How much did we experience a cost savings analysis somewhere that said, "Hey, we over the course of I don't know 36 months, we've been able to generate X amount of dollars that we can allocate to this particular infrastructure deal and adding stimulus payments and giving small businesses in a way,
We kind of
assistance and help.
we
There's a lot of money being thrown around lately, man, and that
no,
that
and we
that
kind of got
kind
a
of
little bit
wakes
off
you up.
the I was gonna say we kind of got a little bit off the track here
Yeah, the
as
gas
far as
shortage piece. Yeah,
yeah, but and we'll come back. But dude, I there's a lot of money. I think Atlanta is getting like 174 or
yeah.
147
There's
million
more. Yeah,
dollars,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yep.
there's like all these counties are getting crazy millions of dollars
And they've got to
to
spend it.
spend it. They
Yeah,
have to spend it within 2 years, I believe.
yep, yeah.
It's a
And
thing.
this is part of the infrastructure deal.
Yeah, I know, but it's to like COVID. You can COVID relief, blah blah
Uh
blah.
huh. Uh huh.
So getting some of those government funds and helping the counties spend some of it or allocate it towards this, and then they have for future security as far as cameras and infrastructure for that scenarios, right?
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely. Some are saying that some of these smaller counties that you would drive by and you would blink and you're like, oh, I was just in another county, are getting
like two
thousands,
million, three
millions of
million.
dollars that these
Yeah,
guys aren't going to know what to do with.
yeah,
But
no,
again,
it's a good opportunity for some,
it's a
but it's
great
like, dude, where's all
opportunity.
this money coming from?
Exactly. I agree. I agree. And that's why
No, but
you've got, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. That's why we've got these inflation rates, man.
dude, it's a little
But we'll
crazy.
talk a little bit more. But tell us, finish this
So
off on
going
this
back
gas
to
shortage.
this, yeah, so going back to this, I think they basically paid out
Yeah, the ransom.
$5 million in the ransom to for the software to to decipher the computers. That was kind of crazy. As soon as I heard, I called my wife and I told her, I was like, hey, make sure you go pump gas. Um,
Jump on
and
it.
then
Yeah.
actually my brother-in-law called me. He's like, hey, dude, make sure you pump gas. Then we got an email from work saying like, hey, make sure you guys have gas and all this other stuff. Right at on Thursday, so I called my
Yeah.
wife and said, "Hey, where are you on gas?" She's like, "I'm less than half a tank." I was like, "Well, get in the car right now and go to the
Fill
gas
it up.
station before it gets crazy." So she had, and I told my extended family. But dude, then Friday, pumps we didn't have no gas.
Yeah. No.
There was lines, no premium. It was
Yeah.
just unleaded. Some of them had it, so it got a little bit. I mean, there was no gas around here.
Yeah. In my neck of the woods, there were areas that did not have gas, but we had areas that would have gas, but you were rationed, right? You would do, you could only get $10 worth. You can only get $25 worth, or, you have to choose what kind of gas you're going to put in your vehicle. And you have to be very, you got to figure out what's going to prioritize because for example, I don't know about you, Alex, and this is a little frustrating for me, is that, man, I got to have premium in my car, and here
Yeah,
I
me
am
too.
putting here I
Both of
am
them.
putting 87. Man, it's like, come on now. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you put
absolutely.
87?
Oh
With
man, I had
oh, no
to,
way.
but I
No
put like
way.
$6 just to get to the next one, you know
Make
what I
sure you
mean,
don't step on especially I don't know which car you're
and
driving, but if
clog
it's
it
a
up.
Mercedes,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
you got to
Benz.
make sure you don't step on it.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
You
So
got to take it
anyway,
easy.
so
Yeah.
what I'm surprised about this whole situation is what I just said, is the fact that the ransom was paid, because, in a way, what happens in that moment, you're kind of negotiating with terrorists. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
let's
real.
be honest.
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
And that's not what we do, but
No.
apparently I'm just blown away by it, to be honest with you. But look, the country's got to move forward, right? Right now we
I
don't have
think
time for
it's an
this
easy
mess.
yeah, I think it's an easy $5 million. To be
Man,
honest, the damage that it does versus paying $5 million is it's not it outweighs it, right? So they were like, let's just pay the $5 million, get over it. I mean, it
I
just
don't know
move
about you.
on.
I'm not. Look, let me say this. I am not for these groups to do what they're doing.
No.
That's pretty. That's pretty mad. You've got some mad skills, bro. Honestly, you've got
I
some
mean,
mad skills that
it
you are
almost feels like that
too
movie Hackers
crippled,
or something. I don't know if
right?
you remember that
That
movie
you
back in the
can,
days with
yeah, yeah. Listen, you cripple
or
economy.
Swordfish. You ever seen Swordfish
Yeah,
with
yeah, it's a
Angelina
great movie.
and yeah, yeah, it was a
But
great
that's what
movie.
it is. You cripple the economy in certain ways. Transportation. Listen, things need to get around. So the fact that you have those kinds of skills, listen, as we say in our culture, mi respetos, you know what I mean? Like my
Yeah.
respect, mad
Imagine if
props. The fact that you could pull that off, man. I'm gonna
yeah,
be,
imagine if they redirected some of that energy. Man, they could probably be creating something and make 10 times that much money
isn't
if
that
you're that
something, man?
smart. Yeah.
And again, these are this is just us commenting on this gas shortage because we know you've seen it. I don't know about you, Alex. Have you seen some of these pictures, man? People are putting gas in plastic bags, dude.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Like who puts gas in these containers in plastic bags and like it's like, dude, it's gonna eat right through the plastic.
It's
Like,
gonna
what are you
eat
guys
right through the
doing?
plastic.
Imagine you have these bags in your trunk and it
Dude,
just
but this one was
oh my
this
goodness.
this was a Spanish lady, man. The one that I saw
Nah,
was a
man.
Spanish lady, and I was like, no, senora, don't do that. Like, don't do
Nah,
that for the
don't do
culture.
that.
Like, lift us up. Don't do that.
Yeah,
For a
you can't
moment,
be
I
doing
was
that.
like, man, just make her.
But you know what, dude? Basically this also caused a lot of movement in the stock market.
It
We
did.
saw we saw how it affected the stock market with different stocks moving up and down. Of course, it didn't help that Elon basically said they're moving away from Bitcoin because it's not a clean energy source, right? And that's all
uh,
what he's about.
yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
some
yeah.
other
Well,
ones that there's some other cryptocurrencies that are environmental friendly like Cardano and some other ones. You can guys can do your own research on that because there's so many different cryptocurrencies. But
yeah.
basically, he said that they weren't going to accept it, this and that. There may be Dogecoin, and it sent Bitcoin spiraling down. And then of course it dragged some other
It dragged everybody else along,
it
man.
dragged the whole market, and then
Uh
also
huh.
that didn't help about the going back to the gas the pipelines
Yeah.
that also drove the stock market down, even though today, Friday, as we're recording this,
The S&P.
the
Yeah,
stock
man.
market picked back up, right?
It did. It did. But it wasn't all the way around, man. This is
No?
this is just, when it comes to these basis points, the S&P 500 only jumped a percent and a half. And that was
Yeah.
only because of what's interesting is this was the tech sector. You've got 3% coming out of Tesla, you got 3.5% coming out of Facebook, you got Microsoft and Alphabet right at, almost 2%, and then Apple, Amazon, Netflix are at 1%, which is kind of crazy, and they also were saying that, Disney, they struggled a little bit this week because they closed 2%, almost 3% weaker than what they intended to. But,
I think
it's
it was
been
like
a rough week.
2.6, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been a rough week, man. But, everything matters in the market, guys. And you need to
But you
remember
know,
this.
but you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's fine, man.
Um, you remember we talked about, I don't know if we talked about it in the show. I would have to go back and find out, but we we talked about
I'm
what
not going
stocks,
through
but
those episodes.
no, but you remember we talked about what stocks would basically in 2 to 3 years will come out of this and have the potential to make you some good decent money. And one of them was Carnival
Dogecoin.
Cruise. No, Carnival's Cruise. Remember? I
Kidding.
don't know if we
Yeah,
talked it
man.
up maybe off
I
air.
did. I told you, I still remember. Listen, I tell you, I was sitting on the ground at home watching the market, and everyone was panicking about Norwegian, Carnival. I believe those were the two major ones, Norwegian and
Yeah,
Carnival. And
correct.
I remember telling you, dude, hold it, buy and hold, just hold it. That we're going to get through this. Look, if you've got the cash, if you can hold on to it, it will make you some money. And today, you
They
see
jumped. Yeah,
it
they popped
jumped.
8%.
Exactly. Listen. It's you want to
The movie
buy the
theater too. AMC.
AMC. AMC was
AMC
one of the
also
top gainers
it's up.
yesterday. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
AMC was one of the top
Um,
gainers yesterday. Absolutely. So listen, guys, when you invest, If you've got the ability to hold on to some of this cash and create a pattern for yourself where you can hold on. Listen, some of these tickers, some of these stocks, you don't want to hold on to them and live in this what if. Because if you live in this what if and you don't understand the market, what's going to happen is you're going to think to yourself, man, if I would have just done what I was supposed to do, meaning if I just would have sold it, if I just would have held it, if I just would have just ignored it. I see people on social media are like, oh man, I'm excited. There's this one person, I'm not going to say this person's name on social media, but there's this one cat on there that I seen him on TikTok and I checked out his Instagram profile and he's all about some cryptocurrency. And you've got geniuses backing him up. Oh, yeah, yeah, man, I'm right there with you. Thanks to you, I've been able to make a lot. Listen, guys, do your research. Just because you see it on TikTok, just because you see it on Instagram, it does not mean, hey, this is the route I need to go. Don't follow the trends. Here is what happens. And this is just a small example. Do you agree with me, Alex? This
Yeah, I
is a
don't know for
small
sure.
example of what happens when you follow the trends. You got to understand finance, period, if you're going to jump into the market. Don't just jump into it because everybody else is. Oh, I made this,
Well,
I made that. Look,
the
it's a
problem with
waste.
that, yeah, well, the problem is that they've already invested in there, so they're early into the stock. By the time, if you have a couple people that have a big social following, and they're able to push it and push and push it, basically what happens, they'll rank it up, and they know it's a bad stock.
Yep.
What is going to happen once it gets a certain dollar value, they're going to dump it,
Boom.
and
Yep.
then everybody else is going to start dumping it, and then you're going to spiral. You're going to be caught holding the bag and
Absolutely.
with no money in it.
With no money in it.
So you don't want to be caught holding the bag where everybody's taking out the money. It's like, so be smart, do your research, man. It's like, that's what we always say when we say, like, hey, we think this one's a good one. Is like, we're not 100, we're not,
No one is sure.
stock
No one is
advisors.
sure.
We're
But
not
what we
sure.
can
Nobody can
tell you
predict the
is
market.
we read the graphs, we watch the market volatility, right? Those are your biggest thing, guys. You got to watch the graphs. You got to watch the market. You can't wake up and say, oh, let me check what my portfolio is doing today when you just woke up and you don't even know what time the market opens, right? If you don't even know what time the market opens, you don't need to be touching stocks, right? Because what you're doing is you're actually damaging, and this is me being honest, you are damaging investor credibility right now, right? The market needs confidence. And when someone buys for the sake of buying, that's not the way to go. So I want to encourage you in anything that you're doing regarding the stock market, do your research, watch your tickers, watch your graphs, check the trends, look for wedges, and don't just hold for the sake of holding. Sell when you need to sell, buy when you need to buy. Watch the dips. If it's a consistent dip, then you definitely need to keep your eyes on it because it's probably going to create a wedge. And at some point, it's going to spike back up. We see it with Norwegian. We see it with Carnival. The cruise market, if we want to call it, that sector, listen, it's going to bounce back even better, even
Oh, for
stronger
sure.
because people want to get out of the house. And the best way to vacation is to get on the cruise. Why? Because you can go to 3, 4 destinations that you can pick up in a matter of days. And before you know it, you post it on Instagram, Snap, or
I
whatever, and
mean,
you've been there, right? That's the
just
only
think
reason
about it.
you're doing it.
So think about it, Joe. Like, the president said, anybody who's fully vaccinated doesn't have to wear their mask. So that's kind of giving you. Obviously, there's a lot of people going to take advantage of that, and
Oh,
whatever the
absolutely.
case may be.
I took
But
advantage of it today. But anyway,
but the thing is, we're sort of going back to some type of normalcy, right?
yeah,
And
normalcy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and so with that being said, dude, is like, I think we're maybe a year, and I think people are gonna be traveling. We're gonna have people going on cruises. Things start picking back up, and you want to be able to go and invest in these early, like Delta, that has good dividends and a good company that it's not gonna go nowhere. If it ever, it's gonna get bailed out, right? So you want to invest in these companies that are still at a cheap. They're at a bargain buy,
Yeah,
and they have the
absolutely.
potential to make you some money. So think about it in 2 3 years. you probably wish you would have bought some of these stocks. So maybe go back and do your research and buy some.
It's never too late. It's never too late, Alex. And when we're talking about money, have you heard? And this is big money. Like we're not talking.
Yes.
We're talking big money. We're talking $2.5 billion worth of Amazon stock. So Jeff Bezos, if you remember, if you've been watching, if you've been listening to us, you will remember that we did a show at one point where we talked about Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, is leaving Amazon. And what he's doing, he's transitioning the power to the man who really made Amazon happen, which is, I think, a smart move, an intelligent move. I think it's the right move, if you ask me. However, what throws me off, here's what throws me off, right? If you don't know the whole story, one of the things that I want to encourage you as we're talking about this, anytime a CEO sells their own stock back to the market, once they relinquish the equity that they own within their company, something's up. There's something to be said that when you release $2.5 billion of Amazon back to the public, right?
But here's look. I understand completely where you're going.
Yeah.
This is a little. I think this one's a little different because he has programmed that part of his exit plan or whatever, or him relinquishing the control of the company, is these are pre-planned sales. So way before, so he sold what 739,000 shares,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
He
equals
still
that
owns.
2.5 billion.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, he still owns 52.4 million shares. That's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
10.5% of the company. And he's he's gonna be doing selling off another 2 million shares, because what he's trying to do, Carlos, he's trying to build his own space program.
And that's where I was heading. When anytime a CEO begins to sell, there's two routes, right? You always need to think about these two routes. And this is, I'm going to give this one to you for free, right? Anytime a CEO sells their equity, there's two routes they're going. One, the company is about to encounter something big, that it's about to encounter some losses, something's about to go down. So they've got to get their money out before everyone else gets their money out and they go bankrupt. That's one route. Route number two means if they're selling that kind of equity and they still own this amount of equity within the company, that means they're about to do something big. That means they
Hmm.
need cash, right? They
Hmm.
need cash. They need to pump cash into something. And all you've got to do is be patient and wait long enough to figure out what's about to take place.
So there's been chatter that they want to do a split. They want to bring the Amazon stock back down to roughly around $240.
Yeah.
So if that
Quick split.
happens,
Yeah. Of
if it happens, I'd be super interested to get my hands on it.
course. Why not?
Um, but he also, he's committed $10 billion of his personal wealth to the Bezos Earth
Earth
Fund,
Fund. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is
Heard
a
about
is a
that.
fund that to help combat climate change. I mean, he's trying to compete against Elon's SpaceX, this Blue Origin, where they're trying to get,
Blue Moon. Isn't
yeah,
that a
Blue
beer?
Moon. Sorry, yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
that a
Blue
beer?
Moon is, yeah, but the company itself is Blue Origin,
Yeah, yeah. Blue Origin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're trying to launch, going into space by the summer.
Very interesting, man.
Elon came out and said he did a tweet and to respond to this and says can't get it up to orbit. Laugh out loud, laugh out loud.
Isn't that hilarious though? That's
Well, there
typical
he's
Elon,
competing
right?
against. Yeah, I
He
mean
is because
he's.
he's creating competition. Listen, one of the things that you guys need to learn, or you may need to know, I don't know about learning. I don't know how valuable this is in your life in certain ways. Is what Elon is doing when he has SpaceX and he goes into space and you guys are reading about it or you're seeing about it and you're like, oh, that's great. He's able to go up in space, blah, blah. One of the things that you
Well,
need to
he's
keep in
great.
mind, yeah, 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 oh, he's great. So one of the things you need to keep in mind is he's making money off of NASA. So what Elon does is he saves NASA, he saves other countries a whole lot of money when let's just say Australia wants to send a satellite into orbit. Instead of them putting together their own space program, they now can outsource, pay SpaceX, send that satellite into orbit, and guess what? SpaceX gets paid. They make their
Hmm.
money, right? And that's what's really funding the majority of Tesla right now is SpaceX.
Well,
However,
there was major contracts that he went and sued for the ability to be able to compete with some of these contracts, and there's all kinds of back and forth. Yeah, this major NASA deals are they're basically their money. It's
yeah,
money for the
because
companies
it
there. That's
costs.
how they fund.
Yeah, it costs. What Elon has done is what NASA can do. Elon can do it for half the price, which is a big deal if you ask me, guys.
No, it's a big deal, and I think you know
Huge,
what? He's
huge.
ahead. He's
It's
ahead.
just huge. It's
He
huge. Sorry, that's my
he.
Trump. Was that pretty good?
Yeah,
Was that good?
it's all right. It's all right.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Huge.
Lots of smart people. Lots of smart people.
Lots of
But
smart people. Lots of people around.
he's ahead of the curve, man.
Anyway,
And it's
he
gonna
is,
take
man. He is.
and
He
it's
is.
gonna take companies a little bit to catch up. That's what happened with this electric industry is
The EV
cars
market.
manufacturers, the
Yeah, man.
EV market. He's such ahead of them that it's gonna be tough to catch up, but that's not a problem.
If
It's
they've
just it's gonna
got the
take them a little bit long.
cash, right? If they've got the cash, and this is a
The
prime
design
example.
and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
You've
no, for
got the
sure.
cash, you've got the staff, you've got the equipment, you've got the materials, you've got the innovation. If you've got it, here's what's happening. So again, the reason that we wanted to bring this up, or the reason I really wanted to dive into this piece, and I know Alex wanted to dive into this, is because one, I know he loves Jeff Bezos as well, as much as I love Elon as well. But this is, guys, this is as we head into the future, and you've got
Hmm.
to keep these things in mind, that who knows, before you know it, Blue Origin will be public. It really will.
Yeah.
It'll
So
be
you
a
wanna
or it'll be a conglomerate of another company, right? Again, I get the fact that Bezos had to leave Amazon to really focus
focus on
on
it?
Blue
Yeah.
Origin. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I
So
don't think he's completely off, but he's gonna be some type involved. But he wanted to relinquish control so he can focus elsewhere to make this actual thing happen, right? And make sure that it goes in the right foot. In talking about the right foot here, Carlos, we you started on this seven life rules. I believe
the
the
seven
seven
rules
life
to
rules
success.
of success. Yes, sir.
What's interesting though, this is I thought you were heading there, is we just talked about how Jeff Bezos leaves
Hmm.
Amazon. Check this out, Alex. Jeff Bezos leaves Amazon, right? Transitions leadership, leaves to focus on Blue Origin. And the reason he leaves, instead of handling both, instead of manipulating both companies, instead of dividing his time 50-50, instead of doing that, he realizes the value of managing his time. And that leads to rule number 5 of the 7
Hmm.
rules for success about managing your time. Right? What a fantastic transition. Look, the power of now, the ability to uphold your personal power, examine where most of your time is, and really dedicate to it. Honestly, guys, in anything that you do, as we talk about success, you've got to learn the value of time management, right? And that begins now. That doesn't mean you have to be a billionaire, a millionaire like some of these guys. You can start now, right? You can start now. If you make an appointment with somebody, be on time, right? If you set up a meeting, be on time. If you set up a phone call, be on time. Again, it matters where you dedicate your time and how you're going to dedicate your time, but you've got to understand the basic rules of time management. Would you agree, Alex?
No, yeah. So for sure, dude. I mean, obviously, we all struggle with managing your time, and you talked about having your professional planner, and I talk about having my calendar on my computer, and also having my sticky notes. to keep me kind of in check. To because man, I don't know about you, Carlos, but having so many people that rely on you or depend on
Yeah,
your input to make
of
different directions for them to take decisions,
course.
it consumes a lot of your time, right?
Yeah, man.
And sometimes I have my daily tasks that I need to accomplish that are important because it leads to other people, the success of the company or other people getting paid, right? And sometimes these other small things that people think are important can really consume you. So it's like knowing how to focus on the important things and
Yeah.
putting the little small things to the side. Yes, it's important to get to them, and I'm not saying don't get to them. But
Make
if you got an
priorities.
important, yeah, you got if you got important tasks you need to accomplish, do those first, and then worry about the small tasks because it's important for a reason. If not, it wouldn't be important. So that's why I think we need to focus our time, get the larger things, the most important things out of the way, and then you start focusing on the small things and go from there.
That's right. So just to recap what we've talked about in the past couple of weeks, Alex, is number one, as we continue the full breakdown, number one was collaborating with others, which is a no-brainer, right? Never neglect what really matters as you pursue your success. That's the second one. Three, choose possibilities, not problems. Four, you got to do those self checks. We talked about that. I mentioned that sometimes I need a heart check to remind myself why I'm doing, and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then, of course, the fifth one is focusing on managing your time. So, Alex, I heard you talk a little, just literally right now, man. I feel that I saw for a moment in your face. Those of you that are watching us, I don't know about you. You can rewind it, but you can. I don't know if you can hear it, but I could tell there's a little bit of pressure. That that just happened when you talk about how other people rely on you. Sometimes I rather go outside, climb a house, and clean gutters than to do what I'm doing in the office because of the things that are required of me and the people that are depending on me. That sometimes I'm just so overwhelmed that I'd rather be
Hmm.
cleaning gutters. You know what I mean? But of course, I'd rather not. I love what I get to do, but there are some stressful days. There are
Yeah,
some
it's
incredibly stressful days.
you basically do a trade off,
You do?
right?
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
doing a trade off. Yes, you're doing physical work and it's tough. And sometimes some physical work like, is not that tough, because it just depends on what you do. But but you're doing something that doesn't sometimes require too much mental stress
Yeah,
as far as, and it's easier. And sometimes you look at it as like, man, if do if I rather go back to doing that, then it's a no brainer. It's non stressful, but it's a smaller pay, right? Because sometimes the value that you're bringing, it comes with compensation, right? It's because
yeah, of
you're bringing
course.
more value, you're getting paid more for the same amount of time if you're doing the physical work. Sometimes it is tempting to be like, man, it's just this mental stuff is, it's a little hard at times.
Yeah,
But
man.
that's why you got to check yourself, manage your time, focus on all these rules of success to help you stay in that right track or in the right mindset. And sometimes, dude, it's okay to be like, I can't do it. Oh, guys, you guys got to help. You got
Yeah.
to
It's
delegate some
okay to
other stuff.
say no sometimes.
Yeah,
and and
for
and
sure.
and and that's I think that's what happens. Those of you that are listening, we're all go-getters, right? There's a reason why you listen to the show, right? There's a reason that I continue to do this show, is because I'm a go-getter, right? I believe that grinding and hustling is the answer and the key to success, that's not listed in the seven rules. And there's something to be said about you listening to the show because you obviously are looking to be sparked. to be encouraged. And I think what happens, Alex, the reason I bring that up is because one of the things that we put on our content calendar following up these 7 rules of success, and we're talking about, managing our time and really focusing on the priorities, is sometimes one of the things that matters as we move into the next subject, Alex, is I want you, and those of you that are listening, I want you right now to identify what is that one thing that you're doing to stay mentally fit, right? I'm not talking physically fit. We all know what we do, either go to the gym or you walk or you run or you make trade-offs as far as your physical health. No, 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 no. I'm talking about your mental health, right? We talk about managing our time and how we're going to dedicate our time. The next piece into this is, what are you doing, Alex, to stay mentally fit when people are depending on you, right? When people are asking you, hey, can you do this? And you're just to a point where you're like, hey, I'm at my breaking point today. There is only so much, this house of cards is one card away from breaking. Right? It's one card away from just falling for that day, not for the week, not for the month, not for your life. I'm talking about for those next couple of hours that you just need a minute, right? So, I think those of you that are listening, if you are not doing anything to stay mentally fit, because some of you may be trying to figure out or juggle a career, a family, after school activities. We talk about investing, money, finance, taxes, you name it. Life takes place, and then when you add, right, when you add this layer of responsibility, no matter what it is, but specifically, we could talk about work if that's what you want to identify, is what are you doing to stay mentally fit? Right? There's no article that I attach to this in our content calendar intentionally.
No,
It's
it's
very
it's
intentional because I'm not
it,
here to give you advice on it. I can tell you what I do. But Alex, do you have anything that you do that keeps you
I mean,
mentally fit, man?
there's different things that sometimes it's just being in a dark room, just taking a breather, just focusing on your thoughts. As far as just focusing on the day, just getting mentally decompressing. I would say your thoughts, right? Your because you're the same way as I am. Sometimes we thrive under pressure, right? Because we get all these calls. You
That's where
kind
we
of and
perform
and
the best.
and kind of you love it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. The
I
adrenaline,
kind of do.
the
Yeah,
dopamine,
but
absolutely, absolutely. I
sometimes,
thoroughly enjoy it.
sometimes it's like, okay, it's a little much. Not at the moment, because you really don't even think about it. But sometimes you gotta decompress. So I like to sometimes just sit quiet to myself and just clear my thoughts, right? Another thing that I like to do is, even if it's for work, is in basically you guys already said it before. I said it before on the show that I do a little bit of engineering work. So it's a doing drawings, looking at stuff. It's smoothing. It helps me kind of control. It takes my mind a little bit off. So doing those kind of setups, and it kind of helps me. And of course, I like video games, so I do that. And then spending time with my family, that always kind of helps. Spending time with my son is, training him is I think those all those things contribute to my mental health. And like I said, already spending time with my family, that it's a key thing, right? Taking time sometimes to just be in the moment. That's what I would say. But man, it's hard. What's yours? I mean, I don't really have like a plan. I just think all those little things play into it
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep me
You
sane.
subconsciously, you subconsciously do those things, but when you really reflect on what you're doing, you're like, okay, I really don't have nothing, but I kind of really do, because these specific things subconsciously really do give you the ability to recharge, right? Listen,
Mhm.
I'm all about spending family time, and that's a big one for me. But I'm gonna say this, Alex. For me, I've got to remove the family time. I've got to remove figuring out what the next thing is, because what that does is that requires me giving, right? The cup is empty, right? I'm at the
Mhm.
last drop, and I've got to figure out a way to recharge. I got to figure out a way to pour that, I've got to refill. So one of the things that I do for sure, man, uh is I love solitude. When I need a recharge, I need solitude. And what I do is I meditate, man. I really do. I meditate. I put on some meditation music. I'm not into the chakras, okay? I'm not into the chakras. I'm not into the pebbles or the jewels or whatever you want to call them, the crystals. Sorry, I'm not into that.
Mm,
But the meditation music that I listen to is really music that triggers what they call the seven chakras, which I don't believe
yeah.
into that, but it's really soothing for me to just turn everything off, listen to that, breathe in and breathe out. And my body will tell me when I'm good, right? My conscious will tell me when I'm good. And in those moments that I meditate, man, I've got to remind myself of my prayers. I got to get back in line to where I need to get, because at the end of the day, this, the mind, as I'm pointing to, controls all of this.
Mm,
If this shuts down, this whole body shuts down.
correct. Yeah.
So, I see you yawning over there. I kind of could tell your eyes are kind of red. I think you're extremely tired. I can't deny it right now, Alex, which is kind of good that, honestly, it's kind of good that we're talking about this, because at some point, we need to be reminded, even the fact, even us as we do this show, man, that what are we doing to stay mentally fit? What are we doing to take care of ourselves? Listen, we focus on these, we look at these quotes talking about hustling. We watch these people that are like, oh man, they're going at it hard. We talk about our goals financially. We talk about it, invest. It's great. It's fantastic. I thrive on it. But we live in a society where it is all about go, 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 go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where at the end of the day, we talk about time management, right? We just
Yeah.
did.
Preach.
As we
Preach.
go, go, reach, 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 go, 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 hit, hit, hit. And you do that. And once you do that, that's great. That dopamine shoots, that adrenaline kicks in. But what happens is that disappears, and it will disappear if we don't focus on ourselves and take care of ourselves, man. So, I want to encourage those of you that are listening that no matter what you do on a day-to-day basis, you need to ask yourself the question, what am I doing to stay mentally fit? My mental health is important. What am I doing about it? Listen, you could Google anything. I mean, we've got a search engine in Google that you could Google just about anything and it'll give you tips. And I am not here to give you tips. I'm just telling you what I do. Alex is telling you what he does. But if anything that matters, what we have said today, one thing I would love for you to walk away with is that you stay mentally fit no matter how you're hitting this day, no matter how you're hitting this world every single day. Stay mentally fit, stay mentally strong, and focus on yourself. It's not selfishness, it's necessary. It's not selfish because you're constantly giving yourself away at all these different things. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. It's actually selfish to deny yourself. I'm going to say it again. It is actually selfish to deny yourself the ability to give yourself a proper mental health day, a mental health moment, no matter what it is. Encourage you to do.
Nah, dude, I agree. And then talking about something else, and this is not even in our schedule here, but
Yeah, man.
dude, talking about Jeff Bezos doing the going to
Blue
the
moon.
moon,
Yeah.
and everybody's trying to go to the planet. I don't know if you saw, but have you
Everybody.
seen some of these videos about the UFOs?
Yeah, I've seen some of these.
So,
They're starting to get
dude,
more active, man. And the
man,
government is releasing some of these videos.
it leads you to believe, like, are we out alone in the universe? Did is does God have, or not God, whatever you believe, it doesn't even matter. It's like, is there another planet out there that we just haven't discovered, or is it, they release so many pictures, so many, and there's nothing around. So is there something, or is there not something? Are we gonna go and live in the moon, or not live? It's like, man, it's crazy if you really think about it, Carlos. I don't know if you ever thought about it, but is in one way you want to say is like, well, I kind of do believe there's got to be something else out there. It could be aliens or not aliens, or maybe another version of us, or not, or nah, that's crazy. If we would have found it by now, yeah, these are all coincidences. It could have been something else. Where are they? I know this is more of a like it's just an opinion base, but I
It
figured
is.
it's
It
good to
is.
talk about this stuff. It's like, is there something? Is there not something? I don't even think we know, or they're hiding. If they do know something, is like at this point, why are we hiding it? If it is, if oh, is it to for panic? I don't know. What's your thoughts, man?
I listen, man. I go back to why didn't they tell us about COVID sooner, right? Because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't want the American public to panic, even though parts of the world were already panicking. We just didn't know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we chose to ignore it. Oh, that won't reach us. That won't hit us. Look, man,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about life on another planet. I don't know about these UFOs. But what I am going to say to you, man, is I'm going to let it happen, right? Once it shows up and it creeps its ugly little head, then it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I can't predict. I am blown away by all the footage that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know that as soon as you Google UFOs and UFO sightings, you're gonna be lost for the rest of the night, right?
Well,
You're,
I got a
you're gonna
story.
find video after video. You got a story? Go ahead. You want a
I got
story?
a
I hear a story?
story
Go ahead.
time. So,
Story time.
you
Tiempo
know,
de
back in
historia.
yeah, back in the days, we used to live in Ceres, California, and we worked. Well, I didn't work. My mom and was with my stepdad, and he was a farmer at a milking company where they have a farm where the cows go and they put the machines and you collect milk and they do that, right. So it was late at night, and I remember him running to the house, and my mom was there, and we used to have, I don't know if you remember those, Carlos, but those old recorders with it was a cassette tape
Yeah, man.
in
Yeah, yeah.
the
The
yeah,
VHS. Yeah, man.
the
And you would zoom
VHS.
in. You'd zoom in
Yeah,
using
zoom
the
in
two
and
fingers, and then you had the
okay.
red button in the middle. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So supposedly there was like a flying saucer type deal above the house, just a couple thousand feet up, and it was like very big and big bright lights. And this is in the middle of nowhere. It's just a farm, and
Yeah.
and basically he ran. They grabbed the recorder, and my mom goes outside with my aunt or whatever, and as soon as they go inside and she's recording, the thing just like zoom. It like it zooms up like high up in the sky, and there's actual an airplane going this way, and that thing is going like boom 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 boom, and there's actually, we still have it. It's somewhere in his
You're
house.
kidding. You're
No,
kidding.
I'm dead serious. Now we don't know for a fact what it is. They never sent the video clip to anybody else, but it's in a VHS somewhere in his house. I don't know how you would see the footage now, but it's in
Oh,
there. And I
man,
remember,
you go to the nearest Goodwill, you can find a VHS recorder,
well, maybe,
a
but
video
dude,
player for sure.
I just remember that story because I mean I remember actually being out there, and I seen the video, like I
Oh,
seen it,
you've
and I
seen
see
it.
the, yeah, I personally have seen the recording of and my mom didn't know there was no editing like that back in the days, like now
Of
that you
course
can
not. Of
manipulate.
course not.
My mom's not gonna know that it's on a recorder, like, probably in top of a porn, right? Like I don't know,
Wait,
you
what? Uh,
saying I made a
uh,
joke because back in the days,
I'm
do
gonna.
you remember that? You remember
I don't know
the
what you're talking
VHS?
about. I don't know. I don't know
Listen,
what you're talking about.
there's the VHSs used to have where you can have multiple things, and then
Alex,
suddenly you
Alex,
look.
let's go back to the UFO, please.
But you remember those
I
because
don't
sometimes
remember nothing.
you've been watching the
I
regular
don't.
movie, and then suddenly one will pop up and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? But anyways, we go back to the story, guys. Let me
Oh,
rewind.
how
Um,
did we get here?
it's the life, man. Life just makes sudden turns. You just gotta adapt sometimes. But no, look,
Well,
Carlos,
I just
for
don't
real.
know how you got to that part. But anyway, so you saw the video.
So I saw the video and I saw the light, and they would go and they would zoom in, poof, it would go like this, and they would go around the airplane, and then all of a sudden it just went, phew, and it just took off.
Shut off.
it just shot up to the sky, just poof, like you can see the light, and you can
But
see stars around.
you can see that thing just shooting everywhere then.
Yeah, and up in the sky, like so far away, like it's not a bug. It wasn't one of those little lights that, like you can legit see it where it's moving around. It goes and it goes up and down, and just poof, it just takes off. It's pretty
Well,
crazy.
I'm gonna say one thing, and again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I feel like people who are in
True
certain
story.
ways,
True story, guys.
I mean, honestly, but I wonder if Area 51 really does have aliens
Why
that
don't
they've
they let us
captured.
get close, man? Why don't they
That's a
let us
good
get
question.
close?
That's a good
You
question.
get in there, there's cameras everywhere. In the mountains,
Good
hidden.
question.
There's thermal cameras. I bet they detect your heat. They know where you're there. There's probably movement triggers. There's got to be something. I don't know, man. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that opinion base since we were talking about the sky and the moon and and all
Uh,
these people trying to
sure.
go up in the orbit.
I will say that, but listen, guys, we've had a fantastic time. Please, we apologize for Alex's imagination the past couple of minutes.
Nah, Carlos, come on, man. You, I know. Hey, listen, guys. I know this new
I know,
generation. You
I
don't.
know, I'm not drinking. I know, not this time.
You guys don't know about VHS. It's probably I was super young. I was probably the last generation to see
Do
those
you
type
remember?
of
You remember they used to sell the little cars where you
cars and to
slide it
rewind it.
and then it rewinds it? Oh man, those
If,
days are
if you're if you're still young, you don't know what that is because you know what?
gone. Oof.
We're on Blu-rays and DVDs, and guess what? In a
Blu-ray.
couple of years,
Wow.
give it a couple of years, those are gonna go away, and it's
Hmm.
all gonna be digital libraries.
I
We
don't
already
even
have
think
it.
I've
We have this
watched.
combo.
I don't even own a DVD player, bro.
I own a lot of them. They're right there.
I
But
don't.
the thing
I
is,
watch everything online. I just
that's
buy
what I'm
it,
saying. This
3.99,
new
be good to go.
generation doesn't know, but you know,
I
they
do know.
used
I do know.
they
If you
used
know,
to
you
have
know.
movies. They were used to be 3 or 4 movies,
Yep.
and sometimes you would get a movie that's like somebody recorded on top of it. It's like, whoa, where
Yep.
did that come from? That's
Yep.
where my comment goes. I was talking to my generation folks out there. I'm talking to you guys. You guys know, you know, you
Oh
know.
man. So we're gonna end with the quote of the day, as always, guys. This is a quote that I think it just fits the moment, man. It fits the moment. So
Okay.
today's quote is a quote that just fits what we've talked about this whole time. And there's no author in this quote, but I think we all get it when we hear it. Believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. I'll say it again. Believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. My name is Carlos.
And this is Alex. Thanks for
Thanks for
tuning into
joining.
the show. And also, guys, please share it.
Hit that ding.
Subscribe if you
Hit that
subscribe
bell.
to the channel. Yeah, subscribe to the
Subscribe.
channel if you haven't.
Like it. Love it.
Yeah, like it. Subscribe. Show some love, man. Show
Show
some
some
love.
love. Here,
We
yeah.
do this for fun. We like to share our opinions, and all we asking is if you watch it, you've made it this far, go ahead and hit that like button.
Hit that like button. Here comes the song.
All right, see you
Ahora.
guys. Peace out.
Chicles, cacahuates, mazapanes, chavalitos, mila bolsa. Like those guys.